for you?
Howdy, howdy, howdy. This is Crosstalk Podcast, 英会話ポッドキャストです。
Well, you're going American today.
Thank you. で、このチャンネルは日本語と英会話バイリンガルスタイルで話していく英会話のリアルな話し方についてだったり、アメリカの海外文化のカルチャー、オーストラリアの海外文化のカルチャーなど違いについて話していく番組でございます。Hi, I'm ともやです。
Hi, I'm Andrea.
では今回のビデオのタイトル、ポッドキャストのタイトルもなんですけども、エモい英語を復活させようみたいなタイトルになってると思うんですけども。
Okay. First of all, I don't know what emoy means.
エモいのエモは emotion.
Okay.
Emotional.
Okay. Because I would guess that it has something to do with emotions, like emojis, emotional G.
エモ、
Yeah, right. It's like.
絵文字のエモは。
But it's like emotional
expression.
Yeah, expressions in a character.
True.
I think it came from that, maybe. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so I guess it has something to do with emotions, but it sounds bad though. Emoy.
エモい。だからその、キモいのちょっと似たような。
Yeah. It sounds like, ooh.
そうね。で、最初にそのエモいの、英語のきちんとしたトランスレーションは何かなってちょっと考えていきたいんですけれども、エモいと言えば、さっき今言ったエモーショナルなんだけど、多分、アンドレさん、そのエモいっていう意味がそもそもあんまりわかんないよね。
あんまりよく聞くけれど、だからなんとなくわかる。I kind of understand from like the context that I hear it in. I can kind of guess the meaning, but I don't hear it that often.
Not
Emoy.
Really. We don't really use emoy in daily conversation.
No, and like the few times I've heard it, I feel like it's been like used in a negative way. So I had the feeling or the impression that it was kind of a negative meaning.
Emoy is kind of a positive meaning.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
When you excited about something,
okay,
you could say emoy, or it's emoy uta, emoy song.
Okay. That makes sense. Makes sense.
So I just picked up some English key phrases for explaining this kimoy word.
Emoy or kimoy?
Sorry. Emoy, なんかちょっと言い間違えるね。
Yeah, no, it's similar.
Emoy.
Okay, it's very similar.
Because I don't use emoy often. So
yeah, you're not an emoy kind of guy.
Right. Okay. じゃあ最初の一つ目、二つしかないんですけども、一つ目が It was a killer.
It was a killer?
It was a killer.
Okay, like
A killer っていうのがアキラーじゃなくて killer.
Killer.
なんか殺人じゃなくてものすごいいいよっていうものに対して It's killer.
Yeah, like how was that joke that Dave told last week? Oh, it was a killer.
It was a killer.
Yeah, okay.
すげえ。
It's a great joke. Yeah, it's a fabulous joke.
すごいっていうかエモーショナルって感じじゃないかでも。
Okay.
ちょっと違うか。
Yeah, if emoy means emotional or expressing some sort of emotion, killer doesn't really have the same nuance, I think.
エモい。なんかでも難しいね。
Yeah.
ちょっと今この例文ではちょっと違ったかもしれないけど。
Okay.
じゃあもう一つちょっと候補が一つあるんですけども、それが dope.
Dope. Okay. That's a cool word.
クールなのかな、あんまりちょっと良くない言葉なのかなと思ったりもするんですけども。
No, it's usually used in a good way. Like, that's really dope means that's really cool.
なんかもう、エモ、なんかちょっとそれの方が、日本語のなんかね、使い方、ちょっと似ている部分があるんかなと思って。
Okay, that's good to know.
Yes. So like, oh my gosh, the song was dope, man.
Okay, yeah, like it's a really cool song.
そう。なんかそんな感じで、めちゃめちゃいいやんけ、その曲みたいな。
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. That makes sense.
Okay.
I'm not the kind of person that says emoy or dope or killer though.
Me neither.
Yeah. But when I hear the word dope, it's like, okay, this person's cool. He's a cool person or she's a cool person.
なんかストリート系みたいなね。
Yeah, it is a bit street style. Yeah, it's a bit street.
それでは今回の現代に蘇らせたいエモい英語、古い英語。
Oh, okay. This should be interesting.
Yes. Let's bring back Old English now.
Okay. Are these words that you personally like or that you think are cool?
I think these are very cool.
Okay.
And some people ask this kind of a question to us.
Okay.
So I think if we had this word, it would be easier for us to explain this, the word that people want to say.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So it's like we had the word, it was convenient. For some reason, it stopped being used and it should be brought back because it was actually good and useful and meaningful.
Exactly.
Okay.
その通りでございます。
Okay, I'm curious to see what the words are.
Yes. Number 1,
Bedward.
bedward.
Okay.
リスナーの皆様、この意味
Bedward.
わかりますか ?bedward.
Towards the bed?
Exactly.
Like forward or towards means going toward, to something.
そう
Bedward. Going to bed? Going
その通り
towards
で
the
す。
bed?
そうで
Okay.
す
Yay. I guess the meaning.
ベッドワードっていうのは、お布団、
Bedwards.
もう眠りにつきます。
Okay.
こうベッドに行きますみたいなね。もうこれから寝ますっていう意味ですね。
Okay. Okay, I'm going to start using this.
で、これ
I've never heard this, by the way. This is
そう
a
なの
completely new word for me. Never heard it
う
before.
ん。で、ベッドと towards っていうのはね、その向かっていくって多分英語があるんですけども、
Yeah.
それがくっついて bedward っていう
Okay.
言葉が昔々英語では使われてたっていうらしいです。
Okay.
で、なぜ使われなくなったのかちょっとわかんないけど、普通に多分ね、普通に英語でもうこれから寝ますって言うと、なんて言うでしょう、アンドレさん。
Yeah, I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed.
I'm going to bed. ね。
Yeah.
多分それの方が言いやすいみたいなね、簡単だっていう。
Yeah, maybe like language, every language is living. Sometimes we don't know why language changes or why things are discontinued or who knows. Right?
その通りです。で、なんでこのベッドワードをちょっとピックアップしたかっていうと、僕が英語を勉強していた時のことを思い出すと、なんかこれから寝ますよっていうのは I'm going to sleep って言ってたと思うんですよ。で、実際にはネイティブの人は I'm going to go to bed とか I'm going to bed みたいな。
Right.
そういう使い方をしてますよね。
Right. Because going to bed and going to sleep are a little bit different.
Yes, can you explain how different I'm going to sleep, I'm going to bed?
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously going to bed just means you're going to get in your bed. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to sleep. It just means you're going to get into bed. Maybe you're going to, watch TV when you're there, or maybe you're going to read a book. But anyway, you're going to get into bed and start preparing your body to go to sleep. Going to sleep is physically closing your eyes and going to sleep.
どちらも寝ますよ的な意味ではあるけど。
Yeah, I mean, if you said you were going to bed or going to sleep, I understand. It's totally the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fairly similar. Yeah.
So bedward means more like
going to bed rather than going to sleep.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
この使い方で言うと I'm bedward みたいな。
Okay.
使い方がね。
I'm bedward. Okay. It sounds a bit old. Yeah, it sounds old fashioned. I don't know that I would say that because people would think you're a weirdo, but it's a good word. But I don't know if I will use it.
そうね。初心者の方だったらね、やっぱり今言ったように going to bed ね。
Yeah.
なんで寝るのにベッドなんだよみたいな。
Yeah.
っていうのがあって、このワードを選びました。
Okay, I see.
じゃあ、アンドレさん、次。Can you explain next one?
Me? I didn't choose these.
Can you...
Coldrife is on the list. Coldrife means easily cold.
This is a good example for Andrea.
Yeah, in the winter.
Yeah, she's easily get cold.
I do, even though I have a lot of fat under my skin.
Yeah. cold life?
Rife, I understand. I can kind of guess the meaning because rife, for example, if you say rife with, what would be a good example? You are rife with stress. It means you're full of stress. Like you have a lot of stress. Or you're rife with problems. You have a lot of problems. Cold rife would mean like you feel really cold, I guess. Like you get cold easily. That makes sense. It's a weird word. I think it sounds strange, but why did you choose this one? Just because of me?
Yeah, that's because of you. で、それもあるけど、多分、リスナーの方もね、あまり聞き慣れないかもしれないけど、冷え性ですってね、人多いんじゃないかなと思います。
Yeah, in Japan you have a word, 冷え性, right?
冷え性ね。
In Japanese.
で、英語で冷え性ってどういうのってよく聞かれるじゃないですか。
Yes, actually.
どういうんですか what do you say?
We don't. We just say I have cold feet or like I have poor circulation. 循環が悪い。
Poor circulation.
血液の循環が悪いね。
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have like a name for a syndrome or a symptom or a disease.
あらまあ。
Yeah.
だから、これが一番いいんじゃないかなと思って。
I see.
日本人にとってはね。
Yeah.
Cold life.
Cold rife. It's hard to say though.
Cold life.
Rife.
Life.
Rife.
Cold
rife.
Right.
Yeah, that's better.
Rife は R か。
Right. R, not an L. It's R. So it's hard for Japanese people to say.
Okay.
Because it's confusing.
自分でピックアップしていきながら発音綴りをチェックしてなかったから。
Oh, that's fine.
R この rife は R ね。
Yeah, to be rife with
cold rife.
Yeah, to be rife with cold. To be stuck in the cold.
I see. そうか。
うん。
でもなんかもう冷え性で cold blooded とか言わない？
Cold-blooded is cold-blooded is more used. I mean, maybe as a joke. You could say that as a joke. But cold-blooded is used more for animals like birds or reptiles who literally are like not mammals. Like mammals are hot-blooded animals. Cold-blooded animals are birds and reptiles. They have a different physical makeup. They're not mammals. So they don't feel cold.
Oh, okay.
They don't feel cold because they're not mammals. They're not cold. Yeah, they're not warm-blooded.
Did you explain cold-blooded to someone sometimes before?
When they asked Hiesho?
When, someone asked you, how do you say Hiesho?
I don't remember. I mean, I might have, but I don't remember.
Okay.
But I think I would just say I feel cold. My feet are cold right now.
じゃあもう冷え性っていうそもそもの英語はなくて、
Yeah.
もうその部位が、体の部位がどこが冷えてますね。
Right.
I have
cold hands or I have cold feet. Yeah. But the thing is like, we don't say it in America because maybe we don't feel it. But this is, I don't know if this is true. I'm just guessing. I'm just thinking about this right now. But like, in America, when you go into a building or a house, especially in the winter, you typically do not take your shoes off. And so your feet stay warm. And most people, like where I'm from, it snows a lot. In the winter, we're wearing heavy snow boots. We're not wearing like high-heeled shoes and sandals and shit. We're wearing like heavy snow boots. So like your feet don't get cold because you're wearing like Gore-Tex boots and Uggs and like really warm things.
I see.
So like most people don't have this problem. Also, like the way that the buildings are made, and we talked about this in a really, really early episode, like the buildings in America have more insulation and they don't get as cold. They're not as drafty as like Japanese houses.
True.
So like I feel really cold in Japan, but it's because there's no insulation in my house and the windows are drafty and I have to take off my shoes indoors and it's just like, I'm cold.
So
it's not just language, it's also cultural.
That's cultural difference. I see.
It's cultural and language together.
Okay. まあ日本ね、アメリカではそもそもそういう分厚いブーツだったりを履いて家も断熱がめちゃめちゃ効いてるからもうそもそもそういう冷え性っていう問題がない。
あんまり聞いたことない。聞いたことないだけかもしれない。
そうだからもう冷え性ってどういうんですかってねそもそもそういうことはないよっていうね。
Wear
Damn.
heavier shoes. That's what it's called.
Or,
You need to get some boots.
yeah. Or if you have taught English by like a linguistic professor, they might teach you this word.
But you said these are old English words, right? These are fairly antique words.
Yes.
I don't think professors would teach this unless you were in like, old English literary class or something.
Oh, okay. Well, that was a joke. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next one is
The next one is fortnight.
Fortnite って
Actually, I've heard this a lot.
game. It's an online game.
Is it a name of a game?
It is.
Fortnite. Is it a new
Fortnite.
game?
It's a relatively new game.
Fortnite. Okay.
It's an online shooting game.
Okay. I think I've heard you talk about it, and I think my son plays it as well.
And then your son plays it.
Yeah.
And I have played this game a few times before.
Okay.
But I couldn't get into.
Okay. I think they get into it very much. Maybe it's for younger people. I don't know.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So Fortnite, the traditional meaning, not the game,
本当の意味は
is a period of 2 weeks. So basically like half of a month.
2週間ってことか。
Yeah. But
Okay.
I've heard people actually use this, like people from Britain or maybe Australian people. Do Australians say this?
I have never heard Fortnite in Australia.
Really? Maybe it was my New Zealand friends, my Kiwi friends.
Yeah, probably some people would say in Australia, but
Yeah.
personally, I haven't heard it.
Okay, I've heard a lot of British people say
Okay.
fortnight, and like as an American, at first I was like, I don't know what that means. What is a fortnight? How long is that? I mean, we don't use it, so I had literally no idea.
2週間っていう意味ですね。
Right.
ただ、これなんでピックアップしていたかっていうと、週に2回っていうね、日本語使うとき、
週に
2回、
Okay.
それを英語にするときに、なんだろう、semi-weekly,
biweekly?
biweekly.
I think biweekly. Bi means 2, and a weekly is, shugoto. So 2 times a week would be biweekly.
なんですけど、多分セミウィークリーもなんか最近使われ出してるんじゃないかなと思って。
Semi-weekly means
週に2回っていうことね、セミウィークリー。
Really?
はい。
Semi-weekly. I think that would mean like ほとんど毎週。
semi-weekly? Semi-weekly?
Right.
Oh.
Really?
Because I have found this semi-weekly word on actually our podcast page.
On our podcast page?
Yes, on Apple Podcast. There's how often do these guys update their contents, and then they says semi-weekly means twice a week.
Really?
Yes.
Wait, let me check. Oh, you're right. It is. Semi-weekly. Oh, I would never say semi-weekly to mean twice a week. But it says it's a North American. Maybe it's those damn Canadians. It's the damn Canadians. It's not me. I would just say bi-weekly or twice a week.
って思ってたんですよ、僕もね。
Right.
というか、
Semi-weekly means like, to me, maybe once a week, but sometimes they skip.
As a English language learner,
Yeah.
I would say twice a week.
That's easier to understand and easier to say, actually.
Yes.
I think.
But it seems like I don't know how often people use semi-weekly, but I kind of started using semi-weekly.
Well, maybe I
personally.
should too, since it's North American English. I mean, honestly, like I'll say it right here. Like I do teach English. I'm a tutor. I've been tutoring English for 25, 27 years. But that doesn't mean that I'm not still learning. I'm still learning English too.
Okay, そうなんですね。で、 And also, this is kind of confused me.
Yeah.
I told, you guys,リスナーさんも僕言ったんですけど、先ほどに biweekly っていう言葉もありますよね。
Right. Yeah.
But biweekly can be 各週.
Oh.
So these two words really confused me a lot when I was making this content. So I was thinking, which one is which?
You're right. Oh, look, you're right. Biweekly is not twice a week. Biweekly is once every 2 weeks.
Right.
Or twice a week.
Yeah, it can be twice a week.
That's
not twice a week.
confusing.
It is, but
That's very confusing.
it is. So please, listener, be careful using this word when you explain something to someone. Biweekly can be twice a week or 2週間に1回もしくは、各週.
That's ridiculous. Okay, I think we need to change this English. It's like someone needs to put their foot down and say, no, you can't have one word with two separate meanings like that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
That's too confusing. Like even for an American, if someone said biweekly, I would assume twice a week, but looking at the definition and like talking about it, it could mean once every 2 weeks. That's
once every 2
and
weeks.
I would be confused by that, and I would probably miss appointments or I would mess my schedule up or something because of that word.
Yes.
That's not cool.
I personally think it's easy to say semi-weekly when you want to say twice a week. This is my personal idea.
Okay.
So if you want to say once every week, every other week, I might say bi-weekly. That's just my opinion.
I would just say twice a month. That's much less confusing. I think we should just trash the word biweekly completely. Like, don't even ever use it. It's too confusing. Just use, twice a month or twice a week or, that's much less confusing and much clearer and more concise.
だと思います。
Yeah, I would just trash this word. This just needs to go in the garbage. It's just a trash word. Just throw it in the trash. Don't ever use it.
でもセミウィークリーは結構多分
No, throw that
使わ
one
れる
away too. No, they're all trash. That's trash English. Don't tell people that you learn that because that's trash.
でもね、デザインとかするときにね、twice a week ってなんか文字が長いんですよ。
Yeah, I think that's why they use it on like IT sites or websites because it's fewer letters and it takes up less space, but the meaning is confusing.
セミウィークリーの方がね、シンプルで使いやすいから、
Yeah.
っていうのはありますね。多分そういう理由ですね。
Probably.
Design you said.
No, you said. I didn't say it. You said it.
Design, I said it. Design you say.
Oh, you say.
You said.
Sorry, I thought you said you said. I'm like, I didn't say design. You said it.
Design,
yeah, you say.
Design
okay.
first.
Yeah, of course. Like, yeah, you say. That's fine.
Sorry.
No.
Mixed up Japanese and English.
No, that's cute. That's funny. This is like a glimpse into how we communicate every day. Like we kind of work in both English and Japanese and we confuse each other. It's very funny. Every day.
Every day. こんなことが起きてます。
毎日何回も。
リスナーの皆さんはそういうことありますか？もしくは皆さんこのセミウィークリー、バイウィークリーもういらないって思いますか？それとも
いらないと思います。
これめっちゃいいやんって思いますか？リスナーの皆さんよかったらコメント欄にコメントしてください。Okay. Shall we move on to the last one?
Okay, our last one. Is it our last one?
This is the last one.
This is the last one? Okay, our last one is overmorrow. Overmorrow.
Overmorrow.
Overmorrow.
If I didn't know this meaning of word,
what would you guess?
I would guess the end of the day.
Overmorrow. Okay.
No. And end of the day of the tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, because it has the morrow of tomorrow.
Yes.
Overmorrow. Okay. I mean, I can see that.
Yeah.
What does it actually mean?
これはあさってっていう意味です。Overmorrow.
Overmorrow. Okay. So nowadays we just say the day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow.
Which is not one word. Obviously, it's a phrase. It's a lot of words.
It is.
Yeah.
This word also we have heard a lot from our English students.
Oh, how do you say assate in English?
Right.
Yeah.
Whenever we say goodbye, see you,
See you next time.
next time, or day after tomorrow, people are asked us, how do you say assate in English?
Yeah.
And then we explain the day after tomorrow, and
they're like, huh? It's too long. What? What'd you say? What? I couldn't catch it. What? One more time, please. Yeah. Yeah, because it's not one word. It's a really long phrase. The day after tomorrow, right? But this is actually kind of nice because it's one word and it would be easy to teach.
Right.
And easy to say. Yeah.
Right. So that's why I want to bring this one back in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this would be a good one to bring back, actually. And fortnight also.
Fortnight ね。
Yeah.
2週間ね。
Yeah.
overmorrow はあさって。
Yeah. This would be good.
本当になんであさってが day after tomorrow なのか不思議。
Well, I just wonder, like, if this is the thing we were talking about at the top of the episode. Like, we had a word that we used to mean a certain thing, and then we decided we weren't going to use it anymore, and then we threw it away, and now we have no way to say that thing. It just makes sense to bring it back, right?
Yeah.
Overmorrow. We don't have another word for overmorrow, except for day after tomorrow. We don't have a one word solution.
Yeah, we should bring it back.
Yeah.
I mean, Western people.
Yeah.
You have to change.
Yeah, I agree, and get rid of semi-weekly, biweekly.
I would prefer semi-weekly.
Well, I mean, we can keep semi-weekly bilingual, but just make each have one specific meaning, not A or B, that have completely different meanings.
まあね。
It needs to have one meaning.
Okay.
Yeah. We need a language association. We do have one. Like, I think France has a language ministry, kind of like a ministry, where they control like what words are in use. And Japan has one too, right? Japan has part of the Monbu Kagakusho, maybe.
Oh.
Maybe. Like they control like what is considered the kanji that you have to learn and what are considered words that are okay to use and not okay to use and like what you have to learn. We don't have any institute like that in America. We have the Modern Language Association, but it's not government affiliated. It's not a government association. And so there's really no like strict control.
Just an organization.
Yeah, like they set the rules for how we write, like writing rules. Like when you write an essay, the rules that you have to follow. And they do other things, of course, as well too. But like we need some organization that controls the meaning of languages and like what words are in use. Yeah, that would be nice. We could bring these back more easily, I think.
Yeah. I think it's interested in looking into more detail about how English is developing.
Yeah.
Because in English, it's kind of sometimes rule is changed.
Yeah. It changes over time. Yeah. And like the new words come into fashion and old words go out of fashion quite easily. Yeah. It kind of evolves.
そうですね。
Yeah.
まあちょっともう少しね、将来的なエピソードでもうちょっとね、いろいろ調べていけたらね、面白いね。
Okay, cool. Yeah.
OK、では今日はこれぐらいにしておきましょうかね。
Okay.
Shall we finish up?
Sure.
We have talked a lot about old English.
Very old English.
Very old English.
I learned a lot of new words today.
Me too. So what listener thinks about this kind of old word? Do you want to bring these back? Or do you want to part of this English, bring it back now?
Yeah, let us know what you guys think. Would you use any of these? If we brought them back, would you use any of these in your conversation?
皆さんもこのリストの中でいいなと思ったのあれば、ぜひコメント欄にコメントしてください。Okay? それでは
Before we go, I'd like to thank our listeners for listening with us today. If you like our podcast, please subscribe wherever you're listening now. You can also rate and review our podcast. That will help other people find our podcast and help the podcast be a little more successful.
もしよかったらお忙しい方もいいねボタンもしくはコメント欄にコメントなど ていってください。それでは、catch our next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.